Do you have, can you tell us what's basically happening? We can see the president has arrived in Indonesia and he's being welcomed there.
As we're speaking now, Alicia, the president has just arrived, accompanied by the First Lady, Mangema. They are attending a very important conference, a conference of countries surrounding the Indian Ocean, or rather bordering the Indian Ocean. And of course, on Tuesday, the president will attend a state visit at the invitation of President Joko Widodo of Indonesia. You can see the minister there who are giving support to the president is also arriving. So what is going to be happening is that the president is going to be attending this two-day summit, the summit really that looks at the issues of the region. When we're talking about this region, we're talking about the countries bordering the Indian Ocean. So they include your Indonesia, Iran, India, South Africa, Australasian countries like Australia. Mm-hmm. So it's a very important summit, this one. Since it was established 20 years ago, it was an idea which came from President Nelson Mandela way back in 1997. So now we're seeing the first summit, but it's been happening at the level of ministers. It's the first time that it's happening at a presidential, or rather at a head of state level. But they are going to be talking about a range of issues, Alicia. The issues that include the ocean economy. South Africa has recently engaged in the ocean economy, trying to really unlock the economic potential that our seas have. So it's one of the things that has brought President Jacob Zuma here. But after this conference, Alicia, President will then on Wednesday go on to have a state visit with President Joko Widodo of Indonesia. You know, Indonesia is one of the very important countries in the world. Actually, Indonesia, in terms of the population, is the fourth largest country in the world. So you can see it's a huge market. A country like South Africa would always want to seek new markets. To be able to find markets like markets in Indonesia would always be helpful for the country that is South Africa. But I can tell you now, the president has just walked in, and he's going to be getting a briefing, and I guess also some rest. And then after that, he will then be able, perhaps we may be able to have a word or two with him. We're just preparing for the summit right now that is set to begin, and then we will then be able to update you on other goings on, Alicia.
Mzwandile, I understand that, of course, South Africa is currently serving as the current vice chair of IORA and is actually preparing to take over the chairmanship in the latter part of 2017. Maybe talk to us about that.
Alicia, this is a very important development for South Africa. After this summit, we expect South Africa to take over the chairmanship of this association. This is a two-year cycle, so it will take over the chairmanship at around October or November, and until 2019. And the other important thing, Alicia, is that South Africa has put forward a candidate for the secretariat, Dr. Nomvuyo Nogwe, who will be a candidate for South Africa's position of secretary. So you can imagine the kind of clout South Africa will be able to wield in making sure that this organization takes a real shape. And an organization like this, given what is happening in the world, if you look at the global context, you would see that with the new administration in the US, they're becoming more protectionist. You can see what has happened in the UK with the Brexit and some of the populist parties that are rising all over Europe. So an organization like this is actually doing the opposite of what we're seeing elsewhere. So it's very important for South Africa to really strengthen these new markets. I have said to you, Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world, so which means a huge market. And estimates suggest that by 2030, 2/3 of the world's population will be living in Asia. So Indonesia is in Asia, you know that. So it means it's very important for South Africa to really use this opportunity that it might have as a secretary to really advance not only the regional interests, but also the interests of the country. Because at the end of the day, each country is for itself. Yes, it cooperates with another country, but at the end of the day, each country for itself.
All right, and Mzwandile, can you tell us briefly who's part of the presidential delegation, and also what kind of deals or treaties can we look forward to being signed, if any, during this important trip?
Alicia, as you may have seen earlier, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation is one of the ministers accompanying the President. But there will be other few ministers, and I know Minister of Agriculture will also be here. But it doesn't end there. You'd remember that this summit, the IORA summit, will also take a shape of involving business people. So there'll be a large business delegation from South Africa that will attend in order to make sure that whatever politicians or government ministers are talking about gets translated into projects. And people who are responsible for implementing those projects, it's business people. So you would also see business people taking part. You'd also see government people taking part. So it will be a very exciting summit, Alicia.
For that update, that is Mzwandile Mbeje joining us from Indonesia, where President Jacob Zuma and some of his delegation have visited that area for a summit that is to take place. And just to give you a quick rundown, South Africa and Indonesia currently enjoy very cordial relations. In 2008, the joint declaration of a strategic partnership for a peaceful and prosperous future was signed by former Presidents Thabo Mbeki and former President Sibulo Mbanwang Yudhoyono, and the current bilateral mechanisms that allow both countries to optimize the existing cooperation are the Joint Commission for Bilateral Cooperation and the Joint Trade Committee, signed in 2004 and 2006 respectively. We're going to be getting more from the President's trip from our reporter on the scene, Mzwandile Mbeje, but for now